procedures I will do preserves muscle tone and flexibility. So first, for the neck part, we will do the following. First, flexion. Position your hand as if looking at the toes. Next, extension. Position your head as if looking straight ahead. Next, hyperextension. Position your head as if looking at the ceiling. Next, lateral flexion. Move your head on one shoulder and then to other. Next, lateral rotation. Move your head on a twisting motion from side to side. Again, flexion, extension, hyperextension, lateral flexion, and lateral rotation. Next, let us move on to the shoulder part of the body. So first, flexion. Move the arm forward overhead. Next, for the extension, move it back to the side of the body. Next, for vertical abduction, swing the arm out and up. Next, for vertical abduction, put it downwards to the side of the body. Next, for the internal rotation, move the arm up and across the body. And for the external rotation, put it at the side of the body with the right angle. Again, flexion, extension, vertical abduction, and vertical adduction. Next, internal rotation and external rotation. Again, flexion, extension, vertical abduction, vertical adduction, internal rotation, external rotation. Next, for the elbow, we will do the flexion by cupping the elbow in the hand and then bending it up. For extension, straighten the arms. Again, flexion, extension. We will do it to the other side. Again, flexion, extension. Next, for the wrist, we will do flexion by grasping the palm with one hand and support the elbow with another and then bend the wrist. For extension, straighten the wrist. For radial deviation, move the wrist towards the thumb. And for the ulnar deviation, move the wrist to the little finger. And for the circumduction, rotate your wrist on a circular motion. Again, flexion, extension, radial deviation, ulnar deviation, circumduction. Let's do this to the other side. Again, flexion, extension, radial deviation, ulnar deviation, circumduction. Next, for the fingers and thumb. First, flexion. Bend the fingers and thumb towards the palm. Next, for the extension, turn them back to its original position. Next, abduction. Spread the fingers away from each other. Next, adduction. Move them to a closed position. Next, circumduction. Rotate your thumb to a circular motion. Next, opposition. Touch each of the finger to the end of thumb. Again, flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, circumduction, opposition. And next, do it to the other side. Again, flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, circumduction, opposition. Next, let us move on to the hip and knee. So for the flexion, we should lift the leg and then bend the knee as far as possible towards the client's head. For the extension, we should bring it back to the surface of the bed. Next, for the abduction, let us move the leg outward of the body. For the adduction, let us bring it back to the midline. For the internal rotation, let us roll the leg inward the body. For external rotation, let us roll the leg outward the body. Again, flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, internal rotation, external rotation. Then do it to the other side. Again, flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, internal rotation, external rotation. Next, let us move on to the ankle. So first, we will do dorsiflexion. For the dorsiflexion, we should cup the heel and then bend the ankle towards the lower body. For the plantar flexion, we should cup the heel and then push the ankle towards the pointing toes. For the circumduction, we should rotate the foot in the ankle in one direction and then to other. Again, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, circumduction. Then do it to the other side. Again, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, circumduction. So let us move on to the toes. For the toes, let us start doing flexion by pushing the toes downward. And for the extension, bend the toes upward. For the abduction, spread the toes away from each other. And for the adduction, bring it back to its closed position. Again, flexion, extension, abduction, adduction. So, let us do it to the other side. Flexion, flexion, extension, next, let's do it to the other side. So first, flexion. Next, extension. Next, abduction. Next, adduction.